All right, I am working on getting this set up. Here we go, except for the fact now that I can't do. I'm working on making this work right without Dr. Sarah. It's all just me. All right. So I am super excited. We've got 6:15 on the nose. And let's see if I can get this to work. That is not what I want either. I am play from the start. All right, folks, let's see if we've got this running the right way. I'm still change the Zoom screen to share. Thank you, Dr. Sarah. That's what I was having trouble with. All right, scoot you over. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm so glad that you're on and helping me. Thank you. Okay. So, beautiful. All right. On and helping me. Turn that all the way down. All right. Welcome, everybody. I am Dr. Robin Lawrence with Get Well Family Chiropractic. I am the principal chiropractor here at the practice in North County in Florissant, Missouri, and I'm super excited to be here with you tonight. My cohort, Dr. Sarah Ponica, is taking care of some personal time tonight, so I'm very excited that she gets to do that, and it gives me an opportunity to actually figure out the technology, mostly on my own. She was helping via text message, so we're going to give a shout out to her for helping me with that. So let's get started, right? So we're here to talk about backpack safety. Now, I get that their schools are virtual right now, so they may not be carrying backpacks, but eventually they're going to be carrying backpacks again. Or maybe you have a scout who is carrying a backpack on hiking trips, or you happen to be a hiker, your kids are hikers. I know my kid throws on a backpack every time he gets on his bike to go outside, and he's got, a towel for the pool, water bottle, who knows what else is in that backpack. So let's get started. So just a quick overview, right? So when a backpack is used properly, they can be really incredibly handy. However, over the years, right, we've seen the really damaging effects from improper use of backpacks. So today we're really going to cover what problems backpacks can contribute to. We're going to talk about how to find a safe backpack. We're even going to look at some backpack alternatives, right? How to use your backpacks wisely and what kids can do on their own, right, to be successful in using a backpack, and what you as a parent or grandparent can do to help the children be more successful with their backpacks. So, is the backpack to blame for the back pain, right? Well, honestly, many factors contribute to back pain. Sports injuries, poor posture while you're sitting, long periods of inactivity, right? Couch potatoes, and then you go out and you're the weekend warrior, right? All contributes to some back pain. Although another culprit is lugging around an entire locker's worth of school books, school supplies, and any personal items all day long, and maybe only on one shoulder, right? An MRI study actually found that heavy backpacks can contribute to back pain in children. The problem isn't necessarily with the actual bag, right? But the weight being carried around in it. And hey, if you're on right now and you know kids who carry backpacks, please share this. with your community and their loved ones, people who have children. Give me a thumbs up or a heart. Let me know you're here. And if you have any comments or questions, put them down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure that I try to answer them just to the best of my ability. And as always, at the end, I will put any of the resources that we have. I'll make them available if you wish to have them, so just let me know. So really the problem wasn't the backpack in the MRI study, it was really the actual weight that was in the backpack. And I can post that study if you would like to see it, let me know. So have you ever weighed your child's backpack, or your backpack for that matter, right? It's not a common practice to actually weigh your backpack. However, the American Academy of Pediatrics suggests that your child's backpack really should never weigh more than 10 to 15, maybe on the outskirts, 20% of your child's body weight, right? And many students, are carrying heavier weights than that on a daily basis. I know I weighed my kid's backpack one time, it was 40 pounds. I'm like, dude, what are you carrying all this stuff around for? Come on. So we had to go through it and empty it out, and yeah, we found some moldy sandwiches in his backpack. It was kind of gross. Just as an FYI, I'll tattle on myself, right? All right. When the heavy backpack is incorrectly placed on the shoulders, the weight can actually pull the child backwards, and to compensate, the child will bend forward, right? And then crane out the neck, right? And this really can arch the back or the hips, and then the spine compresses unnaturally, and this really leads to shoulder pain, neck pain, and back pain. So if your kids are complaining, don't necessarily brush it off. It could really actually be a problem. And the spine really isn't all that's in jeopardy, right? Over time, the soft tissues around the spine, the supporting structures, like ligaments and the paraspinal muscles that all attach to the spine are going to suffer from a decreased range of motion. They're going to get short, they're going to get tight, they're going to get weak. And the improper backpack use can also lead to bad posture over time, right? We've talked about, text neck, when everybody's looking down at their phones or their tablets and everybody gets neck pain. I also, for my breastfeeding mamas, right? They're looking down at their baby and they're like, oh, doc, I've got neck pain. I'm like, oh yeah, you're feeding that baby quite a bit, aren't you? And looking down at them. But who wouldn't want to? So improper backpack use can also lead to bad posture over time, like we just said. And also backpacks with like real tight or narrow strips that dig into the shoulders, right? Women, we can kind of relate that to our bra straps, right? It can interfere with the circulation and the nerves that are going down the arm. So, if your kid's complaining of arm pain or hand pain or some radiating pain, it could be because of that backpack not being properly fitted to them. So let's also look then at some other issues that could happen or other issues you would want to consider. So kids who carry large backpacks often aren't even aware of how much space the packs take up and how they can hit others when turning around, right? Or moving through tight spaces, such as aisles of a school bus, right? How many of us have been on airplanes and been hit by a bag, right? If we're sitting on that aisle seat, or trying to get through the airport and a backpack's on and you turn and you get hit. Same thing happens in school when they're in the hallway passing through to other classes, right? If they've got this ginormous backpack filled with a whole day's worth of contents, they're going to end up hitting somebody, right? The other thing that can happen too is, those big backpacks are set on the floor and the kids could trip over them as well. So carrying heavy backpacks also change the way the kids walk. And it puts them at risk of falling, particularly on the stairs or other places where backpacks put students off balance, right? Stepping off of a curb, or if they're outside and there's an incline or a decline. It kind of can put the kids off balance because they're trying to carry all this weight on their shoulders and lean forward and can't maybe see really where they're headed. So we got to be careful with them. Now, despite problems they cause, when used properly, backpacks can be really helpful. Before making a purchase, right, though, here are some tips that I want you to have to help you choose the right one for your kiddo and even for yourself. I'm sorry about that, I keep bumping the desk. So look for a lightweight backpack that doesn't add a lot of weight to your child's load, right? Consider the material that's used, right? For example, leather packs, they're gonna look really cool, right? But they're heavier, more heavy, right, than the canvas backpacks. And then also consider the straps. So the wide padded straps are the ideal ones, right? Straps that are too narrow can dig into the shoulders and lead to those issues that we talked about, numbness and tingling down the arms, and also pinching of the muscles in the shoulders. So you want to also find one that's padded on the back, right? So that way your child's going to be protected from anything that might poke through at their back, right? Corners of laptops or books, pens or pencils. We definitely don't want our kids being poked in the back on a regular basis. A backpack that has a waist belt, right, is going to be even better than one without, because then you can hook that strap around the waist and it helps to distribute the weight more evenly through the child's body. How are we doing? Any questions yet? Nope, you guys are doing awesome. Okay. So now there's also backpack alternatives out there, right? And some of them might be like the ones that you pull, that's on wheels. Some of them, may look like little carry-on luggage for an airplane. However, right, you want to keep in mind that oftentimes they're impossible to pull through snow, over uneven ground, and up the stairs. So the kid's going to have to be carrying them anyway. Otherwise, it's going to go bang, 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 bang all the way up the stairs. And a lot of the schools have reported that they're tripping hazards in the hallway, right? Kids just kind of leave them there, kind of like the big full backpacks, and kids are tripping over them, and we don't want any kind of safety hazards in our schools. Okay, so how in the world are we going to lighten this load, right? No matter how well designed the backpack is that you pick out, less weight is always better. Remember we said 10 to 15, maybe on the outskirts, 20% of your child's body weight, right? So, most of us have a bathroom scale. Put your kid's stuff in there and put it on the scale. Find out how much it weighs. So, like an example, right? The backpack of a child who weighs 80 pounds. So my kids don't weigh that anymore, but when they did, that means that their backpack should not weigh any more than 8 to 12 pounds. So I'm thinking, your typical third or fourth grader is maybe somewhere in the 50, 60 pound range, depending on gender, right? Maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. So, one textbook, like I've got some books underneath my iPad here, they're a good 2 or 3 pounds, and you put a textbook, and I know my college textbooks were probably 5 or 6 pounds on their own. So you really kind of got to figure out how to lighten the load, right? And we're going to get into some tips for that in just a little bit. But first, let's look at proper use, right? So you have to use both straps. Every time my kids get out of the car, I'm like, both straps, right? Both shoulders, both shoulders, both shoulders, not one shoulder. And sometimes they're gonna kind of look at you begrudgingly, but just remember, you're really helping your child to have good posture. And with good posture becomes good blood flow to the brain, so aliveness, awakeness. And when you move that head forward, right? For every inch, you can decrease the blood supply and oxygen supply to the brain by as much as 40%. So if your kids are sleepy in the morning already, or maybe they're really sleepy after lunch because they're hunched up and they can't breathe because their lungs aren't expanding, and now we're also decreasing blood flow to the brain, here's a very important reason why we want to make sure their backpacks are used properly and that they're not too heavy. So slung across the chest, again, it's going to compress on the ribs. It's going to pull down on one shoulder and alter that posture. The weight just is not but distributed evenly across the body. And it really can strain a lot of muscles. The straps also need to be tightened enough, right, so that the pack rests evenly in the middle of the back. We don't want it slung down over their low backs and their hind ends. We don't want it hunched all the way up under their shoulders. It really should sit square in the middle of the back. No sagging backpacks. All right, so let's talk a little bit about packing, right? So we've got to pack lighter for sure. It's about safety and it's about proper use. And it really oftentimes is going to rest with our kids. So educating our children on how to do this is going to be really important. We need them to teach them, right, to put the heaviest books in first so that they're closest to the back and it's easier for the body to carry it. And then lighter things move out, right? And have them only bring home what they actually need for the night. And some of the teachers may even have extra copies of textbooks that you can keep one at home and keep one at school, so then the child isn't having to carry textbooks back and forth to school. They may just need their notebooks or their accordion folders and their worksheets, things like that. And then, heavy book, right? Maybe if they've got a Chromebook or a laptop, and then, their lighter stuff. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're utilizing, right, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, are the extra pockets that are in a lot of our backpacks. All right, so now, I don't know about your kids, but one of mine hates going to his locker and refused to use his locker at all last year. So he carried everything he possibly needed with him when he needed it because he claimed there wasn't enough time to get to lockers. But we really need to encourage them to use their lockers as much as possible throughout the day. So maybe take 2 classes worth of books with them and then run back to their locker, switch out those 2 and grab the next 2, and maybe their lunch if they need their lunch. And then right after lunch, going and switching it out again. It's going to make your child's day so much easier. It's not going to be so heavy or draining. They won't have to worry about running into people. And a happier kid gets better grades and they do better in school. So it's actually going to improve performance as well. All right, leave it behind, right? I don't know how many times I went through my kids' backpacks and I found toys, right? Video games, extra food that didn't need to be in there, right? Anything that could possibly add weight that the child thinks he needed, I could find in that backpack. It was crazy. So I really just had to keep on top of him to make sure he took all those unnecessary items out and just leave them at home. All right, and here we go. Staying organized, right? All those compartments help to distribute weight and they help keep you organized, help keep the child organized throughout the day, right? If you've got to pull out a pencil, but you've got to dig down to the bottom underneath all your worksheets and crumpled up papers and what's left of your lunch, it's really going to waste time. It's going to be a distraction. But if they use all their little pockets on the outside, it's a real quick pull out. You can find their calculator or ruler, whatever it is they might need. And as parents, we have the responsibility of making sure that we clean out their backpack regularly. Have them do it with you so that they can see, all the extra stuff that doesn't belong in there, and then it'll make it a whole lot quicker and a whole lot easier. Right? Get involved, right? As parents, when are we not involved, honestly, right? We really care about our child's health and we care about their safety and we carry, and now that we know, we can care about their overloaded backpacks. We all have our little PTO groups and we walk to school groups or our carpool groups, right? Band together a group of parents and let's work together with our kids. It's going to make it a whole lot more fun. We'll have stories to share over coffee. Oh my gosh, I found this in little Johnny's backpack. You're not going to believe it. This moldy sandwich or a half-eaten apple, right? And then we can all go, gross, and we have to throw them in the washing machine. It creates community, right? It's also going to help the school to be safer and more efficient as well. Now, if you're having trouble, right, and you want to try to get the school involved, some of the approaches that you can take with the schools, right, is maybe suggesting that they get a minute or 2 more between classes. Maybe using paperback books or even online books, right? Our kids are going back to school virtually this year, and I drove through this morning to get my middle schoolers school supplies, and it was this, little bag with a bunch of treats and some paper and pencils and markers, and I'm like, where are his textbooks? How come I don't have any textbooks? And so I send an email and they're like, oh, they're all online. And I'm like, what? This is awesome and crazy all at the same time. As chiropractors, we can actually, our office does anyway, provide actual educational programs to the kids in the schools about backpack safety. And there's a whole cute little exercise program that goes with it. So, once we get back in school, or if we want to do some sort of like virtual thing with the kids, we're more than happy to teach them proper backpack use and these exercises to do in between their heavy backpack carrying. Maybe submit some information to the school newspaper or school newsletter that might go out. And I don't know, maybe something on their website might even be possible. You guys use your imagination, dream up how to get the schools involved in helping our kids to be safe at school and healthy by not carrying too heavy of a backpack. Okay, so what are the signs, right? I mentioned earlier, if your kid's complaining of neck pain, back pain, arm pain, don't necessarily ignore it, right? It could be something. Now, sometimes, a kid's gonna fall down, it's gonna hurt, and he's gonna complain and maybe milk it for a little bit. However, there are things you really wanna watch for, especially if your kid's carrying a heavy backpack, right? Do they struggle, right, to get it up onto their back? And then, when it comes off, it's like a huge thud on the ground and sounds like, your whole house is shaking, and they're like, oh, so heavy, right? Look for those things. If they complain of shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, any kind of numbness or tingling in the arms or the legs, right? Because all of this up here, if it gets compressed, is going to affect what's happening down low in the low back, and therefore down into the legs as well. It's all the way the spine is connected, right? It's head to toe connections. All right, I mentioned it earlier, right? Text neck, right? We're always looking down at our phones and our tablets. That downward bent position, using those small devices, creates a major strain at the base of the neck. And this can equate to an actual additional 60 pounds of pressure being placed on the neck. In the office, when a new patient comes in, or if we're doing a progress exam, we do what's called a posture screen. And we're taking 2 pictures of people, one from the front and one from the side, and we're seeing where is their head at in space. And based on height and weight, your head will weigh a certain amount, but because of where it's placed, physics and the perception of what that weighs on your body is enormous. And I actually have an article for that I can post into the comments. If anybody would like to see that, just let me know. All right, so we're coming to the end. Without Dr. Sarah, things go a whole lot faster because I talk too fast, and I miss her greatly. So some points to remember, right? We've covered a lot. Choose a backpack that is the same width as your child. So you can see in the picture, this kiddo is wearing a backpack that's way too big. It will never fit him properly, and it's honestly probably going to take him 4 or 5 years to actually grow into this backpack, right? Adjust the height of the backpack to not go above the shoulders or sag down onto the butt. We want it to ride right in the middle of the back. We want that backpack to have nice wide shoulder straps, and they want to be padded. We also want the padding on the back of the backpack so our kids aren't getting poked with stuff. When the backpack is worn properly on both shoulders, we want it to not exceed 15%, 20% at the outskirts, maybe if the kid's strong, but no more than 15% of your child's weight. Also, remember we said that one with a waist strap is going to be even better because it helps to distribute the weight more properly across. We don't want them to have to struggle to put it on or get it off, and we certainly don't want them walking around hunched over, or if they are walking upright, their head is craned way out. Okay, any questions yet? You guys good? Cool, I love it. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. So, I still don't see any questions. And if you have any, please make sure you reach out. I'm more than happy to guide you through anything that comes to backpack safety. And a lot of people don't realize that chiropractic care is for kids. I've got 5 kids, 22 to 13, and all of them have been checked and adjusted since about 15 minutes after they were born. The way we take care of children is very different than the way we take care of adults. And according to the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, more than 17% of 17% of all chiropractic patients in the US are under the age of 18. we have a whole slew of kids that we can take care of because they have healthier immune systems. They have better sleep patterns. They have better digestion. Our kiddos with the ADD and ADHD can process better because their nervous systems can put in those filters a little bit better, right? And we can coach them with practices when they start to get distracted. And we can also talk with you parents about nutritional recommendations and diet changes for these kiddos. And with asthma, which is what we're talking about next week, is how to manage their asthma. We see a whole lot of success in taking care of kids with lots of different conditions, eczema as well. Preventative care is really what we talk about here. It's, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we keep a healthy spine and nerve system in a child, they're going to grow into adults that don't have the same amount of arthritises, out of alignments, chronic health issues, immune system issues, autoimmune issues that we currently have. So that we really love taking care of the kids because they're going to grow up into healthier, happier adults and be productive too, for sure. All right. And definitely, like I've said twice, 2 or 3 times now, don't ignore your child's pain. Pain is like the check engine light on your car. It's a signal that something is wrong on the inside. And, our bodies were born to be healthy. They're self-regulating. They're self-healing. If that pain is lasting a day, more than a day or two, there's something interfering with the body's ability to heal itself. And that's when you're going to want to call us and get your child a checkup. We're more than happy to assist you with that. Or you could call your general practitioner too. But I would highly recommend a chiropractic checkup and a posture screen first. Okay, so I've got my list of resources here. If anybody wants them, I'm more than happy to put them in the comments. Just let me know. Or if you're watching this recorded later on, shoot us an email or shoot us a text message, and we're happy to send the resources to you for sure. And of course, many thanks for joining us, right? You had lots of different choices tonight in what you could be doing, eating dinner, you may be exercising or something, who knows, right? But you chose to spend some time with me and Get Well Family Chiropractic tonight, and I truly acknowledge you and honor you for that. Thank you. It fulfills my mission and my purpose to be a beacon of light and hope, right? To provide answers for seekers and awakening seekers, for answers to their health problems and their well-being and their financial well-being, and just really making an impact on the community, creating a tribe of heroes for our community. As always, contact us if you have any questions. Also, too, join us next week, 6:15, and we're really going to dive into how to manage your asthma from a holistic, healthy perspective. So once we finish up here, right, go to the event page on Facebook. It should be there, and you should be able to say, yes, I'm going, you're interested. Share it with your community. The more people we can educate and create healthy, happy, productive lives, the better our community is going to be. And that's what we really stand for. As always, if you need us, our phone number is 314-524-2580. And you can find us online at getwellfamilychiropractic.com. Obviously, you found us on the Facebook page, but we're also on Twitter and YouTube at Dr. Robin Lawrence, and on Instagram at GetWellChiro. So again, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Bye.